Good evening. Tutor John with a question from Catherine about using a function in Excel that would rank the numbers between 1 and 14 on a scale of 1 to 5. So I'm going to go over and share my screen, and I want to mention that Catherine asked if this could be done with an if function, and although it may be able to be done with an if function, to be honest with you, it doesn't seem like to me that's the best or most efficient way. Now, this outcome here looks really complicated, but it's only because I've broken down Catherine's question step by step the way that I mentally would process it. And so let me start with the first column. The first column here is Catherine's input, right? So Catherine says that I have numbers between 1 and 14. And so what I've thought is, the first thing I thought is, well, when I think about that, what I want to think about is how many is this value above the index? Well, the index is 1. That's the lowest possible number that Catherine indicated we should have. So in the first column, what I've done is just take the input and I've subtracted 1 so I can get the index value. In the next one, I've said, well, what percent of 13 is this value here? So in other words, 13 out of 13 would be 100%. So that's important. And likewise, 1 out of 13 would be, it's 0% of the difference. So I took that and I said, well, if I think about how many unique increments are there between 1 and 5, there are actually only 4 increments, right? It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is the maximum. 1 is the absolute minimum. So the last step I said is, okay, now that I know what this value is here, right? I'm going to multiply it times 4, this percentage, because 100% of 4 would be 4. And then what I've said is add 1 to it, right? Because again, we're going back to the idea that the lowest possible value is 1 and the highest possible value is 5. So all I've done here is I've just combined each one of these. Let's take a look. My first formula was B2, right? The input minus 1. Yep, there that is. I've taken the result of that and divided it by 13 because there are the 13 is the number of different variables above our index value. I've multiplied that times 4 because there are 4 unique increments between 1 and 5. And then I've added 1 because if we are at 1, we're at the very bottom, and so we want to start with saying the floor or the baseline is 1. And so what I end up with then is the numbers between 1 and 14 are now uniquely ranked based on the proportionality that they are of the possible score. Now, I wasn't sure, based on Catherine's question, whether she wanted a decimal answer or a whole number answer. And so what I've done is I've included not just this formula, but then the secondary formula, which would say round this same exact result that we have here in column H and use no decimal places. So that way we end up with 1, 2 are both a value of 1 out of 5. 3 and 4, as you can see, 3, 4, and 5 would be 2 out of 5. And then 3, and so forth. So what it does is it says to me that no matter what my value is between 1 and 5, my answer is a proportional value of 1 to 5 with a absolute base or a floor of 1 and an absolute ceiling or maximum of 5. Catherine, I hope this answers your question. If it doesn't, you're more than welcome to give me some reply and let me know where I misunderstood your question. If it helps, I'd appreciate an upvote. Thanks much. Have a great evening, Catherine. Bye-bye.